Hello, and welcome to MetalCast by Meddle Coffee Shop. My name is Karen Edwards, and joining me on today's episode is Paul Watts from Watts Removal Products. Welcome to MetalCast, Paul.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Bright and early.
Yeah. Glad that you could be here. So for our listeners, would you just introduce yourself, please?
Sure. So my name is Paul Watts. I'm owner, operator of Watts Removal Products. Watts Removal Products is one of the only products that's specialized in cleaning for Sherwin-Williams coil-coated metal panels. So we have a product that is able to remove anything from a scuff mark to paint overspray to adhesive to small little maybe shards of rust or something that have fallen onto a metal panel. So we have a product that can remove basically any mark from any surface.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about the history of Watts Removal Products. How did you get this started?
Boy, that history with Mark McDonald is something. Let me tell you. Mark McDonald and I, met at, funny enough, a CrossFit facility in Oregon City, Oregon. And we became really good workout partners. We'd work out in the mornings together, and afternoons we actually got into some competitions together with CrossFit. And I knew Mark was working with Sherwin-Williams. I didn't really know what department, but I also have another business called Graffiti Removal Services that uses Watts Removal products for removing any type of graffiti on brick or stone, masonry, and some other surfaces. And I said, hey, Mark, you work for Sherwin-Williams. We got this great product. Would love to talk to you about getting it into the stores. And Mark's like, yeah, you're a great guy, but that's not my really field, and kind of brushed me off a little bit, or a lot. So, we continued working out and being best of friends. And he was at a trade show one day. I think it was IRE or MetalCon, and one of his largest OEMs came up to him and goes, look, I'm pulling all my business unless you figure out how to get an anti-graffiti coating on this metal, because places like Los Angeles and I think in San Francisco now, they actually will require new buildings to have a 10-foot or 12-foot anti-graffiti coating all the way around the building before the building goes up.
Smart.
So Mark, yeah, very smart. So Mark's in a panic, right? He's in a panic. He's like, oh, Paul. So he calls him up and says, hey, buddy, good to hear from you. Good to talk to you again. So now he became a really good friend because I was helping him out of a jam a little bit, which, is Mark and I are, been longtime friends anyway. So I was happy to do it. But really what we came down to is we sent all our product to Sherwin-Williams lab. The Sherwin-Williams lab had been doing R&D on anti-graffiti coating for 2 years, trying to figure out how they can do this. So unbeknownst to them, they just needed the right cleaner, because the way that their panels are coated and the quality of the paint and how well it is, their panels are already anti-graffiti resistant. They just needed the right cleaner. So they did 2,500 hours worth of testing, tested 2 products, Clean Sweep and Crossover, and basically scrapped the R&D program and said, just use Watts.
Wow.
So we've retained a lot of business. Sherwin-Williams has got a lot of business from basically able to meet these specifications, the architectural specifications on anti-graffiti. So it's worked out well on both ends. And so now we support the builders and the OEMs and the contractors that are out there. Not only can Watts remove, overspray and paint and graffiti, but, we have a lot of new contractors now getting into metal roofs.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They want to put on metal roofs, but they're a siding contractor, or they're a window contractor, or they're a garage installer, or, they're a home remodeler. I mean, if you're remodeling the home, I'm a contractor myself. I don't say no to work.
Right.
So, if I need a new roof, you're going to come to me, right? So Watts Removal Products can help with any facet of a contractor that's going in and maybe doing a full remodel. Not only can we help on the metal roof with bio-growth and keeping it clean and maintenance and any types of oops, we call them. Somebody kicks over, painter's up there, and he kicks over a gallon bucket of white latex paint on a black roof because he's painting the chimney or something. How do you get that off, right? How do you get it off without voiding the warranty with a product? And our products is the only product warranted by Sherwin-Williams on a global specification to remove any types of those markings. The only other product is water. So if
Okay.
you can't get it off with water, you get it off with us.
So be careful, if you're installing and you have one of those oops, you could potentially void the warranty if you're not using watts.
Correct.
Wow.
Like if you're taking a xylene or a lacquer thinner or an MEK or some type of really, really hot solvent, that hot solvent would damage that finish. And Watts Removal Products has been tested and approved not to damage the sheen, not to, go into the paint and bring the underlayment out of it and, and strip it. So it's not a paint stripper. So it's very, very delicate. And people always ask me, well, how can I tell the difference between the overspray paint and the paint that's on the roof, right?
Good question. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great question. And it really just comes down to chemistry, right? People say that our products work like magic, but it's really chemistry out there. So we don't want to use anything abrasive, no steel brush, no wire brush. I mean, we can literally, if we have overspray on a roof, put our product on with a paintbrush and then just wipe it off.
Wow. So you
That's
said you said you're a contractor yourself.
I'm a contractor. I'm a painting contractor myself. So I'm a journeyman painting contractor, have been for, 25 years. So that's my background. So,
Okay.
we've been in the field, we're blue collar guys. My people are out in the field all the time doing work. We're painters, we're maintenance guys, we're builders out there. So we know the trades, right? We know these problems that occur. We're not sitting in a lab making up problems. We actually know what's happening on site. So even some of these home remodelers and builders, they'll come to us and say, "Look, I have purple primer, purple plumber's primer. That they
Oh
they
yeah.
put on, yeah, in the bathrooms. But they got a nice white ceramic tile floor that they just installed that has white grout in it, and they spill a can of purple primer on there. How do you get that off, right? So it really evolves out of roofing into any other type of mark or any other type of surface that we can help clean, because we want to support the contractors in every facet of this remodel. Majority of the roof, because that's what we specialize in, but there's going to be other oops on other parts of the project too.
Right. And it's going to work there. So we didn't talk about this ahead of time, but did you develop this product just
No, I'm not a chemist. I'm not that smart.
okay. But you worked with
But
one to have it made
but
based
we
on
worked with one. Yes, we worked with one, had it made. The product has a 30-year history though from Australia.
oh, okay. Tell me about
So
that.
it comes from Australia. And Australia had a really, really bad graffiti problem years and years ago, and met a gentleman from Australia in my travels. And I was starting a graffiti removal business. So we just kind of linked up and basically was able to purchase the recipe from him and do a little tweaks to it. So make sure that it complies with all Sherwin-Williams standards.
Wow. That's an incredible
So
project.
it has a great history. It's not something
Yeah.
that's new. It's newish to the industry, right? A lot of people say like, okay, where has this been all my life, right? Why haven't I heard about it? Well, it's come down to marketing and branding, and it really wasn't. It was in more of the the paint stripping world out there, but we were able
Right.
to work with chemistry and work with chemists to get it down so it doesn't damage any paint, like on the Sherwin-Williams roofs, or like the Vic West of the world when they're installing those really cool tiles on those roofs, which have
Yeah.
Sherwin-Williams on them. I mean, those tiles sometimes have little grooves in them, right? And they'll get biogrowth in them, and they'll get maybe some algae or something on them over the years. Well, our products are not only meant for the oops, but they're meant for the maintenance. Those roofs you want to keep clean, and you want to protect your investment,
You
right?
just led right into my next question because I was
Oh,
going to say,
good.
the metal roofs are just gaining such popularity.
Right.
That's the market share is just growing. And so while they're known for being low maintenance,
Mhm.
sometimes they are going to need maintenance. And so I was just going to ask, are the products really a good fit for,
Yes.
cleaning and maintaining metal roofs? And I think you answered that question.
Absolutely. And there is specifications on keeping your metal roof clean. I couldn't cite them off the top of my head right now. Mark McDonald could probably do that, but you want to keep them clean, right? And Watts removal products is meant for a general cleaner, maybe every 2 times a year, right? You get
Mm-hmm.
out there and you want to clean your roofs. I just had a homeowners association in Florida call me about 38 or 40 homes in their homeowners association in Florida, and they have some palm trees and some other trees around, but you're starting to see the growth on this metal roof out there, and they're like, what do we do? How do we clean them? So you can clean them with Watts without voiding any of those warranties.
Wow.
And there's
That's
really no
incredible.
other company out there. Sherwin-Williams was on the cutting edge of this and thought and recognized the value in it. So they're the only ones on the market that offer this. And we have
Wow.
aligned ourselves with Sherwin-Williams to offer this to all their customers.
So, I mean, you mentioned it earlier about all the testing and the R&D. So what does it take to pass Sherwin-Williams testing? I mean,
Oh my
that's
gosh,
tough.
it's tough. I remember going to the lab with Mark McDonald because they were testing it as I went there, and 2,500 hours worth of testing. They have that test fence in Florida. All the panels out there. So they even pulled some panels off the test fence that
Oh,
are 20
yeah.
years old. To see if it took off the paint, which it did not. But it also cleans, if there's any type of chalking or any type of growth or something, it'll clean that. But it is a very rigorous process. And I remember walking in there with a lab coat, into the R&D department, and with my cowboy boots on and my hat, saying, "Hey, I'm going to show you guys something." And I don't think they really believed me until I just took an oil-based spray can, and I just the biggest seller was taking Mark's, which I don't know if he's has told his boss yet this or not, but taking Mark's car, and I rattle canned his whole hood of his car with oil-based spray can, and let it sit for 6 hours, 7 hours before we took it off. And he was I had to make a believer out of him, and that
I'm
was
gonna
what we had
say, wow.
to make a
I
believer
can't.
out of
I heard that
him.
story but somewhere before, but
Oh
I would
yeah,
be
yeah.
very nervous letting somebody spray paint the hood of my car
Mark
and
was
let it
very nervous.
sit.
Mark was very nervous, but he was a believer after that.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So how do contractors bring your products into their business? Maybe they're already doing roof maintenance, or maybe they want to start, or maybe they're adding metal to their, product portfolio. Where do they find you?
So they find us at wattsremoval.com. They can find us there. So Sherwin-Williams has decided, which is really, really smart of them. It's like their expertise is paint, right? Their expertise is not watts removal. So
Hmm.
they've allowed me, which is great, to actually educate and train their customers on how watts removals work. They don't want to be the expert in that. They just want to filter their customers to me. So I'm always on the road training OEMs, training contractors, having lunch and learns, doing maybe some Zooms. And kind of as we train contractors, contractors ourselves, we think, because I am one, so I'm going to say this, we think we've seen and done everything that there is in the market, right? So, but there's always new things coming out, like our can of Clean Sweep that we have in our metal maintenance kit. Nobody reads this anymore, right? It's a
The
lot to
back of the
read.
can,
It's a
right?
lot
Yeah.
to read about. It's a lot to read. It's a lot to read the back of this can. Every product that we've made has a QR code on it. It goes directly to a video, so the contractors can just watch how it's done.
Great.
And then my number is my direct cell. I'm the only one giving technical advice in the field, shoot me pictures. We really want to set the contractors up for success. Everybody comes out and says, "Hey, I got the greatest, latest new innovation out there," right? But we really stand behind that. Our biggest compliment is that we want to make the contractors the hero of their own story. I don't need
Hmm.
the credit. I just want that contractor to get more work and be able to use Watt's product in an efficient way that doesn't damage the surface that he's working on. I don't care if it's a metal roof, all the way to concrete and stone and masonry, or to any type of plastic or vinyl or something in the field that he has a problem with. Let's set him up for success.
Okay, so tell me how it works. I spray some clean sweep on. Do I have to let it sit? Is it immediate?
Yep. So we have a couple different applications. Clean Sweep is for overspray strippable film. Sometimes we get contractors that leave the strippable film out a little bit too long
Oh
on
yeah.
site. Oh yeah. Um, And so the overspray is really, really easy. You can put it in a pump sprayer, or you can use it with a trigger or a bucket and a brush. And again, it's all on video. You just spray it on, agitate it, maybe lightly with a soft bristle brush, or a microfiber towel, again, not to damage the surface, and then just wipe it off or rinse it off with a hose.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's really, really no dwell time at all.
Right.
Don't let it dwell. Now the strippable film, depending on if it's the adhesive on the back or if it's the actual plastic itself on there's a couple different methods. Put the product on, let it sit for a while, especially on the adhesive. You can work it with a small little brush. And then we like to say kind of get a corner of it and you can start peeling it off. A lot of the older strippable out there, if it's left out there for maybe 6 months or a year, which we've had this problem,
Oh.
it starts to eggshell. And if you know what I mean, when you pick a piece, it's like a little piece.
It breaks off, right?
Yeah, exactly. Though that's a great scenario for us because our products will get in those little nooks and crannies and
Yeah.
get in that crack, and then it'll loosen up that adhesive, and you'll
Oh.
be able to either rinse it off or lightly take a damp towel or something and pull that off. We don't recommend in our videos. You'll see us pressure washing. So anytime I tell somebody to pressure wash a strippable film out, that doesn't mean with a 0-degree tip and you're getting right down on that metal, right? We don't really want to pressure wash that if we can avoid it.
Mhm.
But the product has an adhesive remover quality to it, so it'll loosen up that adhesive and you can take it off. It's unfortunate sometimes the panels are already installed and then they're trying to take off the strippable or their adhesive when it's installed. And the adhesive is you can't see sometimes, like on a black mat, you can't see it. We had a property here in Portland. They put up all the black mat panels, and it was Sherwin-Williams. And then probably 4 or 5 months with all the construction dust, it just acts like Velcro, and
Oh,
all that
yeah.
dust and everything sticks to that adhesive. So you see all these patches of just dirt and grime and the trees that are pollinating and everything else out there. So again, clean sweep will remove all that. It's not a silver bullet for everything. Give
Right.
everybody. There are some things like if you have rusting coming up from some type of panel or something that's been out there, it's not going to fix that.
Right.
People. It'll fix some light rust. Sometimes you'll get a contractor out there, cutting, which obviously shouldn't be, cutting the metal roof and the shavings go
Oh,
on
yeah.
to below it, right? If we can get that, the sooner we can get that, the better, because those little metal shavings will rust, right?
Right.
See these little rust dots out there, but you got to get those metal shavings out, right? If you want them to stop rusting. So there's a couple different applications. Just call me, email me,
Yeah.
call me. I'm always on my phone answering questions. If the product's not working for you, there's a reason why.
Mhm.
Either it's not being applied properly and done properly, or maybe something that you're using on wasn't really meant for that purpose. But we're always up for a challenge. We always love to solve problems. I always have
Right.
new ones coming to me every single day. So there's going to be stuff I'm going to run across that I'm going to just throw my hands up and say, I don't know. Give it a
Right.
shot. Give it a try. See what happens. But we will stand behind everything on that.
All right. Now, lots removal products is an important part of the Sherwin-Williams MetalVue program. How do you fit together with that?
Well, we really kind of tie it all together. I mean, you have the training and you have the application, and you have the metal itself, and you have the dealer portals and at Grosso University and things like that. We want to make sure that when those metal roofs are going on, that those metal roofs look the way they should, with making sure that they look 100% clean and installed, and where that homeowner is going to sign off on that check and give that contractor that last check. Um, so we really tie it into those oops. Something's going to happen. We all like to think contractors, that our guys are going to install the roof properly. There's not going to be any boot marks, scuff marks. There's not going to be any overspray. Sometimes we get chalk lines on the
Mhm.
roofs. We can do that. We can remove those too. But we really want to kind of bring MetalVue and tie us into MetalVue as your checklist or your
Finishing
uh,
touch.
yeah,
It's
that on that roof, right?
yeah.
We had a metal contractor put in I think 64 feet of linear 64 or 70 feet of linear copper around the house and downspouts, but he
Mm-hmm.
didn't use gloves,
Oh, fingerprints.
fingerprints. So the homeowner was holding up like a $60,000 check.
Wow.
He's like, clean it or replace it. So with a little bit of elbow grease and watch removal products and clean sweep, he was able to do a test spot for the homeowner on the downspout to get some of those oily marks out from the, and the homeowner's like, if you can do that on the whole project, I'll write you a check.
Nice.
So it's really getting you sometimes out of a bind. Look,
Mm-hmm.
every contractor is not going to use it, right? But when you need it yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is great. And, the MetalVue program, if you don't know, is part of Metal Coffee Shop, and it's Sherwin-Williams brainchild that really gives a contractor everything they need from start to finish to be successful in metal. So yeah, it's great that you're a part of it. I love the story of finishing it off and helping them get paid. So
Yes.
this is great. Wow. Paul, I want to thank you for being here today
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
sharing all this information. And if you're listening to this podcast right now, Paul has for you, should you want it. He's got some hats that he's wanting to give
Yeah.
away. So all you need to do is go to Watts Removal Products website, fill out the form, and say, "Hey, I heard this podcast on Metal Coffee Shop. Please send me a hat." Give him your name and contact information, and Paul will get you a hat.
And it's right on our contact page. So you can just go to the contact page and do that. And I'll see, I'll be at IRE this year. So we'll have a
Okay.
couple setups at IRE. Sherwin-Williams is building a big old wall with metal on it
Nice.
that people can come and tag and write their name on it and
Oh,
hang
that
out
is going to
there.
be great.
We're going to be
Okay.
doing live removals there.
So the
So
International Roofing Expo is February 6th through 8th. It's in Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Convention Center. And you'll be part of Sherwin-Williams booth. Is that correct?
yes, correct. I
Okay.
will be in the Sherwin-Williams booth and the MetalVue booth also.
Excellent. So I'm going to come by and see those products in action because they
Yeah.
sound simply amazing. Very
Hunt me
nice.
down. Okay,
All
good.
right. Well, thank you everybody for listening and watching this MetalCast. Please visit Watts Removal Products directory on Metal Coffee Shop as well as MetalVue's directory to learn more about that. And be sure to subscribe to MetalCast on your favorite podcast platform. Set those notifications so that you don't miss a single episode. And we'll see you next time on MetalCast.